Alrighty, Craig. I think we'll get going now. It looks like we have a good amount of attendees here, and once more trickle in, we'll have the ball rolling, and we can get this going. So, welcome everybody to the digital insurance webinar hosted here by OutSystems and our partner NetLink. My name is Scott St. Lawrence. I'm a client advisor here at OutSystems. Been with OutSystems for a little over 2.5 years. Helping our customers accelerate their digital transformation journey and accomplish their strategic initiatives through our Lowcode platform. Craig, if you could go on to the agenda slide, please. Thank you very much. So what we're going to be talking about today is the current state of digital insurance. And then we'll be getting into how can you address the strategic initiatives and what the customers are expecting out of insurance agencies today, and how that can be tackled with a low-code platform, and how some of our customers are accomplishing that today. We'll have a portion for question and answer, and then we'll let you guys get to your lunch. But quick housekeeping point about question and answer. We do have a chat box down here. So while Craig is talking and presenting, if you have questions that are coming top of mind, you don't want to lose that question, feel free to put it in the chat box. I will personally keep tabs on that box and make sure all those questions are addressed before we wrap up here today. And a recording of this webinar will also be sent to all the attendees and everyone that registered too, so you can either rewatch or send to some of your colleagues at a later date. Next slide,
Scott.
please, Craig. Just get one more here. Alrighty, so before I pass the ball over to Craig and introduce Craig, I just wanted to highlight quickly on what we'll be discussing today, right? Without even touching on COVID-19, let's just say in today's market, the customers and what customers are expecting out of their insurance agencies today is ever evolving. And that's not going to be accomplished by the insurance agencies without introducing new technology, finding new ways to enhance the customer experience and the interactions between the policyholders and the insurance agencies. And of course, the insurance industry is highly regulated. So having an agile platform and also keeping your business agile is extremely important. And how can that be done with regulations being rolled out all the time, and having to keep the technology up with those regulations, with modernizing your technology and not being inhibited by legacy technology. So that's what we're going to touch about today. How can you maximize the experience for your customers? How can businesses rapidly change and turn on a dime? And doing that today will be what I like to call a three-peat. He's a OutSystems MVP. He's used OutSystems in a previous life, and now he is the director of the OutSystems Center of Excellence at one of our premier partners, NetLink, and that's Craig St. Jean. And I will be handing it on over to Craig. So welcome, Craig.
Thank you, Scott. Hello. Thank you all for joining us today. As Scott mentioned, my name is Craig St. Jean. I am the director of the OutSystems Center of Excellence at one of OutSystems' elite partners, NetLink. But my background is in property and casualty insurance. So I want to talk to you today about how the adoption of low-code technologies has enabled some insurance companies to make incredible advancements in their capabilities, customer adoption, and more. And they're doing it today, not tomorrow. So, I know Scott gave you a little bit of a background into the current state of insurance companies. Some additional information there. Many insurance companies still have a significant amount of legacy technology. This includes mainframes, many disparate systems, COTS packages with custom-built integrations that really make the landscape of IT quite complex. As a result, providing customers with modern capabilities can be a bit of a challenge. And when we look at insurance key KPIs for insurance, we're looking at average cost per claim, underwriting speed, and so on. all of this complexity and legacy can really cost insurance companies and their customers both time and money. After all, if an insurance company can reduce their operating costs, then they can also therefore pass on those savings to their customers. So for growing market share, if we look at what customers really want these days, they want easy to use web and mobile capabilities that give them what they need quickly so they can move on. They don't want to be thinking about their insurance coverage all throughout the day or what they need to do in order to make sure that their car is properly insured. They want to get it done and move on. So we're not going to be escaping traditional methods and call centers anytime soon, but we can still gain and retain customers if we can provide what they need on the web and mobile. This also means being able to adapt quickly and reduce the time to market as customers' needs change, or as Scott mentioned, as the compliance and regulations around insurance changes. So one of the things I want to talk about is decreasing the costs of underwriting and claims handling. So, as we're looking at these different capabilities that we can deliver to customers, what does that look like, and actually how does that apply to some of these key KPIs? So if we start with underwriting speed, big commercial lines policies and specialized insurance is always going to need extra time in underwriting. But we can start by streamlining our personal lines and small business accounts, those more simple accounts that are more straightforward. Customers want to be able to pull down an app or go to a website, put in some information, get insured, and move on with their day. Customers can increase the amount of policies, companies can increase the amount of policies that they issue automatically and offer a win-win situation for their customers, because then customers can get what they need done, and the company can save money by not putting a human in front of every single policy. So imagine buying your first car or a motorcycle or a boat, something where you have to prove that it's insured before you can take your new toy off the lot, right? If someone can get insured right then and there on their phone without having to be bothered to call someone or to go to an agency, then they'll be more likely to stick with you for two reasons. One, because they've gotten what they need done, and now the insurance side is no longer in the forefront of their mind, so they're going to be sticking with you from that regard. And then also because you made it easy for them to get what they needed. But underwriting speed is small fish compared to the average cost per claim. Verisk Analytics shows that the average cost for an auto collision is $3,160 per claim, and $626 per home claim. So each claim means potential legal costs, costs incurred by delays in reporting the claim, and the actual time spent on that claim itself. In fact, a J.D. Power and Associates property claim satisfaction study shows that claim cycle time is the leading indicator in customer satisfaction with property insurance companies. So people are in this time of need, and if you can, again, everything's just about getting things done quickly so that way the customer can move on, and that's really what's going to build their confidence in you. Some things simply can't be reduced. So the actual cost of evaluating what a repair is going to take and the actual parts and labor for that. But if we consider what takes time and people, there's call centers for reporting the claim and to answer questions about the status of the claim as people call in. So, as someone submits their claim and they want to call and say, hey, what's going on with this? Is it going to be paid out? What's it going to be at? Needing to actually call into a person very expensive for an insurance company. And then also anything around obtaining required pictures and data. So do you need someone to come out to an incident in order to take pictures because someone doesn't have the tools that they need to get those pictures to the insurance company? Or is that something that you can provide in an app? They can pull up their insurance policy, push a button, say submit a claim, and start taking pictures right there, and it go into the claims backend system. These are ways that we can really streamline what the customer has to do in order to submit their claims and reduce the time spent on the claim within the company. And then also being able to actually see that their claim has been submitted can really help with people's confidence during that trying time. You know, I know there was one time I had a homeowner's incident, and if I had the ability to just look at my phone and see, okay, yes, this claim has been submitted, here's the details on it, the insurance company knows about it, and then get a notification as that status changed, I certainly would have been much happier and much more confident in what was actually going on. One of the big things that I mentioned is around all this legacy. So where do you start in modernizing legacy IT with companies that, you know, a lot of insurance companies have been around since the 1960s, 1970s, and there's still these mainframes and various systems that are in place. Some have gone through great evolutions over time, and there's still remnants of what was originally put there. You can build more layers on top of legacy systems in order to provide your business and customers a more streamlined experience, but that's just going to make the complexity worse if it goes unchecked. So you have to choose. You can either start with the back end and take the risk of your business and customers still needing to use outdated interfaces while you replace all of those legacy systems, or you can build a new interface on top of your legacy to give some runway to replace the back end, but at the risk of increasing technical debt. And so I have a poll here. So does your company still operate a mainframe? And I'm just curious, you know, does your business still use green screens, or are your back-end systems still depending on it? Or maybe you fully migrated off of it, or maybe your insurance company never actually had one.
Awesome.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say polls launch now. We have some votes coming in. I'll give it 20, 25 more seconds here, and then I can show the poll here, Craig.
Yeah, thank you. And while that's going, you know, one more thing that we have to decide is what systems are truly worth modernizing. Mainframes are not a thing of the past. They manage massive workloads across modern industries. They've gone out of fashion, that's for sure, but that doesn't strictly mean that they have to be replaced. So as we evaluate the various disparate systems, complex service-oriented architectures that a lot of these insurance companies have, and even all these massive Excel sheets that run the business, how can we start to provide a well-rounded, unified platform that our business can run effectively off of? And I see the results here. It's about what I expected. We still have some people where their business is using green screens. And I'm kind of surprised at the no, we never had one. I know there's definitely newer insurance companies, but I think that's overlaying there. That's impressive. 22% of insurance companies have fully migrated off. Good job. So I'm going to take that and transition us into Lowcode. So another question is, have you heard of Lowcode? Maybe you're already using it, maybe you've heard of it, or maybe you're here to learn about what it is. So low code to me means high productivity development. Traditional development methods would take years to accomplish modernizing legacy systems that have had pieces interchanged here and there over the past 60 years in some of these cases. With a low-code platform, we can take these grand ideas about how to build for our business and our customers and deliver them quickly. Or more importantly, we can change quickly, because if we spend 3 years building a new method for our customers to interact with our policy processing system, it's going to be out of date before it even launches. Add on to that anything around regulations. I actually recall there was a case around 2011 where in Ohio the Medicare regulations were changed and companies had to scramble, hire consultants to work on their claim systems that hadn't been touched in a long time to make changes of that. And that's great. So I see we've got a couple people using low code. Definitely good. The majority of here have at least heard of it, and some people that are looking to learn more about what that is. So that's great. So to talk real world examples, I want to reference a property and casualty insurance company that I previously worked for, which was very people oriented. So customers couldn't access policy information online other than EFT. There were no apps, and everything was directed through independent agents. The model worked really well in the past, but it also gave those customers who wanted the personal touch of an agent what they needed. Unfortunately, though, as times change, you cannot keep doing you cannot keep doing the same thing and expect the same level of success. This is where digital transformation comes into play. And it started with a customer portal. So as I said, customers could not access policy information. They couldn't view their ID cards. They couldn't get claim status and so on. So we knew that this had to change. And we needed a solution that allowed us to change it quickly. If we built it in the same way we had our legacy technologies, it would take a year or two. It would have cost a fortune, and spending a fortune on that was definitely not an option. And we would continue to lose out on potential customers until those new capabilities were released. So we started looking at low-code options. We evaluated a few platforms, including OutSystems, Mendex, Appian, and Salesforce Lightning. Ultimately, we chose OutSystems as we felt that OutSystems gave us the most amount of flexibility without forcing us into a specific happy path. And it had the best thought out methods for allowing us to accomplish what we needed in situations that the platform didn't have a direct capability. For example, with its ability to pull in existing .NET code. And I admit I am a bit biased now, but it was really this evaluation that made me to decide to invest so much of my own time into OutSystems. You see, before this, I was a full stack developer working in traditional tooling with Java and .NET. And I really had no interest in low-code platforms, but I saw the value that OutSystems could bring to both the company, including our customers and our back office internal employees. But a successful evaluation does not necessarily mean a successful implementation. So let's fast forward the story about 3 months. At this point, we had OutSystems for our front end, and we also brought in MuleSoft, which is an API gateway and enterprise service bus to access APIs for our claim system, our enterprise document storage, and our mainframe for our policy processing. At this point, we started to realize that we bit off a bit more than we could chew. We had 2 new technologies without experts in either. We were in our first agile project, transitioning from waterfall, and essentially our IT and business partners were not ready for so much change at once. It had only taken us about 1 week to build a prototype portal that was actively talking to Guidewire, which was our claim system, in a production-ready fashion. But we realized that we had to do a bit of a reset if we wanted to truly be successful. And this is where we have to remember that thing called change management. We had amazing tools. We had amazing people that were learning the tools to build production-ready systems after just 3 months. But we just weren't ready for the speed that the new tools enabled us to work. So in the end, we were of course successful, and the solution went live faster than we could have ever done with traditional tooling, but it would have been a lot less painful had we worked to transform our business customers' capabilities first. So how could we have done it differently? In hindsight, we could have started by enabling our business more and getting them used to the speed and agility that OutSystems offers. If we look at the challenges of business and IT, IT is often viewed as people who say no and demand money, right? They're just a cost center. And this leads to a shadow IT within the business, which operates in Excel and other tools in order to get their work done. So I'm just curious, what is the weapon of choice for your company's shadow IT? Does your business run on Excel, on Access, on Smartsheet, other cloud solutions, or maybe you just don't know? And while you're answering that, this shadow IT presents huge challenges for IT, because now the business has data that could be used in more places, but we don't have an official source of truth. So over time, as that data grows, the integrity of it also declines because there weren't systems built around it to ensure validations, consistency, etc. Yep, and 71% of you said Excel. Does not surprise me at all. Thank you for running that poll. So without systems, we can build an app around those Excel sheets in no time at all, and expose the data to the rest of the organization as well. Or even better, we can enable the business's shadow IT to build the apps themselves as citizen developers. So citizen developers is an interesting concept that OutSystems likes to talk about. If we look at insurance companies, there are many power users within the business, and there are often business analysts with a good amount of technical knowledge as well. A citizen developer in the OutSystems world is a non-developer who has been enabled to create applications in the OutSystems platform. The expectation here is not that they're creating enterprise-grade applications, but think of all those Excel sheets that you guys mentioned in the poll. They get passed around in emails, maybe they're put on shared drives. There's different versions of them. A citizen developer can come up to speed in OutSystems without significant technical background and at least get a web or mobile app up and running around that spreadsheet. This can be a scary thought for IT. Immediately thoughts of governance, security, release management, etc. come to mind. But the way that OutSystems allows for reuse, citizen developers can work together with IT to reuse IT's pre-built templates that already follow security standards. Imagine what your business users might be able to accomplish if they had some pre-built components that they could just compose together, even if they're just read-only components to access data. They could build the reports or the dashboards that they need without pulling in IT resources or waiting for someone to query data for them. So, citizen developers, shadow IT, Excel. I wonder, for those of you that said your business is running on Excel, do you know how much of your data is actually stuck in Excel and other tools? Obviously, primary transactional data such as policies, claims, and so on, they're in their source systems. But what about supporting data used by the business? Spreadsheets that show which types of business is preferred for underwriters to reference. As an example, OutSystems is built to support long-term growth, and it does this by making it very easy to build reusable systems that can hold this type of data and expose it to the rest of your organization. Okay, so we got about 67% are less than 25% of their data is in spreadsheets, and 33% say that basically half of their data or more is running in spreadsheets. So, like I said, without systems, there's capabilities built in to consume a spreadsheet and build an app right around it. And here's where I want to talk about streamlining product development. Building a good user experience is really hard. And that's why many companies hire dedicated user experience designers. But it doesn't have to be hard. So OutSystems has put significant research into best practices and patterns in web and mobile, and they've created reusable templates that follow them. So if I want a dashboard in OutSystems to show how my claims department is running, I can select to create a new screen, and OutSystems Service Studio will present me with this really nice list of templates that I can select from. And then once the page is created, I can drag my data type on top of that template, and it will rebuild the page based on what it thinks I'm trying to accomplish. So this can save a great amount of time, both for traditional developers, but then also be a great help to those citizen developers as you try to enable your business customers. Also, as OutSystems announced in October's Next Step event in 2019, soon they're going to be releasing new tools to enable developers to create applications without even opening the development environment. So, I mean, imagine how streamlined that's going to be, where your developers, your business customers can build out a simple workflow and have an app built for them. So I want to thank you very much for joining us today. Before we open up for questions and answers, Scott, do you have any final remarks?
I do, yeah. I appreciate it, Craig. Hope everyone learned at least one thing or two about how Lowcode can help in the insurance industry. I would just ask that everybody, I just sent a link to a quick survey in the chat. And if you could take 2 minutes of your time and fill that out, you'll be automatically entered into a raffle and you could be up for a prize there. So if you could do us a favor, that would be helpful for market research if you could. But other than that, I don't see any questions right now, unless anyone had a question for Craig. Maybe we'll give it a couple minutes here. But as of right now, I'm not seeing too many questions, Craig. So what we can do is...
There's one question I want to address here. He just popped up, asking what are our thoughts on insurance companies that don't have legacy to deal with, and I think this is referring to insurance companies like Root that you see advertised, on TV, where it's a brand new insurance company and they have all of these brand new technologies to work with, no legacy, and I think we can learn a lot from what they're trying to accomplish, and how they're going about doing it. They have a bit of a heads up on some of the insurance companies that have been around for longer, but we can look at what they're trying to offer customers and what's appealing to them, and use some of these low-code tools to quickly deliver and adapt our processes based on the success of some of these other companies. That was a great question. Any others? Okay, well, then yeah, I want to thank you all for joining. My contact information was, I'll skip back to it in case anyone has any follow-ups. Feel free to email me, reach out to me in LinkedIn. Scott, I'm sure the same is open to you.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
thank you
and
very much for joining.
thank you very much. And one last time for everybody, we will send a recording and it will have our contact information as well. So please do not be bashful in reaching out. We're happy to answer any questions you might have as well. So thank you, everybody, and enjoy your day.
Thank you.